What would happen if other Hashiras were sent in the Mugen train instead of Rengoku? Or better yet, what would happen if all the Hashiras were sent? Well, after weeks of research, in today's video, we'll be answering that question, starting off with Shinobu. So, what do you think would happen if Shinobu was sent instead of Rengoku? Well, before going to the Mugen train, same as in the main series, they'll fight the Slasher. But can Shinobu catch up and kill this demon? Well, Shinobu is considered as one of the fastest Hashira, so she lives up to her reputation. She'll most likely kill the Slasher without any problems. Moving on, Tanjiro and his friends then all board the Mugen train for their mission to accompany Shinobu, where they'll investigate a possible demon. The fight with the first three demons would be the same as Rengoku's, since those three are just fodder for Enmu to affect them with the Sleeping Blood Demon art. However, would Shinobu be able to resist Enmu's attack? Realistically, Shinobu won't be able to resist it if even Rengoku can't, but would still be able to discern what happened and would be able to wake up earlier than others. As Enmu begins to fuse with the train itself, Shinobu stabs her blade into the train, causing immense pain to the demon. Tanjiro, Inosuke, and the insect Hashira climb on top of the train to finish Enmu off, with Nezuko saving Tanjiro from being stabbed by the train operator. But would Shinobu be able to save the 5 rear train carts? Well, due to Shinobu's unique fighting style, she can pretty much disable or even outright defeat Enmu, who has inadvertently made itself a bigger target for the poison. After the dust settles and the demon train is defeated easily, Akaza bursts from above and commends the demon slayers for killing the lower moon rank 1. Tanjiro and Co prepares for a fight, unlike anything they have experienced before. Even so, would Shinobu be able to defeat Akaza? Unfortunately, even with the help of Tanjiro and his friends, they won't be able to defeat Akaza at this point in the story. The demon is physically superior to all of them, but Shinobu's poison could slow him down. Ultimately, Shinobu might have to sacrifice herself so that Tanjiro and the others could escape. Now, what if Tengen was sent to the Mugen train? How would the story play out? First things first, Tengen would have to save the workers on the station as well as the child and her grandma from the Slasher. But with that in mind, can Tengen defeat the Slasher? Well, if he decides to tackle that matter first and by using his sound breathing to locate the demon, he can easily catch up to it and kill the demon. Only this time, he won't cause as much commotion as Rengoku did due to his stealthy approach. Since Tengen is accompanied by his wives, Tanjiro and Co might not be assigned to accompany him. Tengen is sent to the Mugen train to investigate a possible demon. The fight with the 3 demons would pose no threat to the sound Hashira. However, can Tengen resist Enmu's blood demon art? Sadly, Tengen would not be able to resist it even if he somehow has more spatial awareness compared to most Hashiras. With Enmu's body now fused with the Mugen train, over 200 passengers have become hostages, but without Tanjiro and the other main characters to help, can Tengen stop Enmu? Well, as Enmu's tentacles try to attack the passengers, Tengen and his wives would struggle. The demon, free from any major hindrance, would have the chance to consume some of the passengers, thus growing even stronger. Tengen would have to endure a long-lasting battle and would thus suffer more injuries before he can finally defeat the lower moon rank 1. After the harsh battle against Enmu, numerous casualties are suffered as most of the passengers are consumed. An injured company of Tengen and his wives face Akaza. However, would Tengen be able to defeat Akaza? Sadly, without Tanjiro and the others to help in facing Enmu, Tengen would be exhausted from the fight and would pose little threat to Akaza if he does appear. Now, let's go to another scenario where Mitsuri was sent instead. Will Mitsuri be able to survive? Of course, just like the others, before Mitsuri arrives at the Mugen train, she first has to fight the Slasher and save the other civilians. Unlike the other 2 Hashiras, Mitsuri is faster than your average demon slayer, but she is far from being one of the fastest Hashiras in terms of running speed. So would she be able to kill the Slasher without it hurting anybody? Well, if Mitsuri is up close and personal to the demon, she can quickly kill him without a doubt, as it was told her techniques are faster than Tengen's. But if she had to chase the demon, she might have some trouble considering she is the slowest runner of the other Hashiras. As Mitsuri joins Tanjiro and his friends on their mission aboard the Mugen train, she quickly becomes a valuable asset to the group. Her enhanced physical abilities and unique fighting style, Breath of Love, prove useful in their fight against the demons. During the battle with the first 3 demons, Mitsuri's fighting style and quick reflexes come in handy, allowing her to take on the demons with ease. Moving on, as Enmu already releases his blood demon art, can Mitsuri resist it? Unfortunately, this is not a situation Mitsuri can easily handle due to her softness. Noting that Rengoku choked the child that wanted to reach his spiritual core, Mitsuri may struggle, but since she is a Hashira, if she puts her training to use, she can most likely escape. With the hostage situation going the same route as before, Tanjiro and his friends along with Mitsuri have to protect the 5 carts along with every passenger on board, but can the Demon Slayers defend the carts? Luckily, with their quick reflexes and mastery of the Breath of Love, Mitsuri swiftly disposes of the attacking tentacles and saves numerous passengers. She even manages to teach Tanjiro a few new techniques to improve his own fighting abilities. As the group navigates through the dangerous 5 carts, Mitsuri's keen senses allow her to quickly identify and neutralize any threats that arise. Her compassion and love for all living beings motivates her to protect the passengers and defeat the demons at any cost. This leads to them severing Enmu's neck and winning the battle. But we all know someone is always going to come around. Out of nowhere, a blast erupts from behind them. As Mitsuri and Tanjiro look behind, they watch as a figure emerges from the dust cloud. Tanjiro reads the kanji in the figure's eyes and becomes terrified as he is staring at upper rank 3, but if the others can't defeat Akaza, can Mitsuri do it? Well, Mitsuri holds her own against the upper moon. She unleashes the full power of her Breath of Love and delivers powerful blows to Akaza. However, despite her valiant efforts, Akaza proves to be too strong, and Mitsuri is eventually defeated. As she lays dying, Mitsuri is comforted by Tanjiro and the others. She reflects on the beauty of life and the importance of love and compassion. Even though Mitsuri's death is tragic, we'll have to move on to the next Hashira, Obanai. Well, just like with every other Hashira, with a slasher on the loose, Obanai is hot on its tracks as he tries to outrun the Hashira. The first hostage situation occurs where the slasher captures the child vendor and threatens to kill her if Obanai doesn't back down. However, can Obanai save the child? Well, if we look at his personality, Obanai is very harsh and strict and may ought to charge at the demon without caring for the hostage as long as he gets the kill. If that happens, the slasher may kill the child, and after that, Obanai will kill him. As he boards the train along with Tanjiro and his friends after sensing another demon, it might turn ugly as Tanjiro and Obanai somewhat hate each other. Tanjiro never learns about sun breathing and the 5 fundamental breathing forms since Obanai doesn't want to talk to him. They encounter the first 3 demons which Obanai easily dispatches, but as the Demon Slayers are tricked into falling for Enmu's Blood Demon art, can Obanai break out of the spell? Well, he won't be able to resist it, but he can easily break out of it with the help of his pet snake, but he then chooses to fight alone rather than waking up the others who he thinks are weak. With his almost selfish personality, Obanai directly dashes towards Enmu, not caring about the other passengers. Tanjiro manages to wake up but is struggling in defending everyone even so. Can Tanjiro save everyone? Well, even if Zenitsu and Inosuke manage to wake up, it'll all be too late as Enmu would have likely consumed more than half of the passengers in each cart. Obanai would be able to slay Enmu at the end and stop the massacre. After slaying Enmu, the train crashes and Tanjiro's friends secure the surviving passengers. Meanwhile, Tanjiro and Obanai get into an argument about how the Hashira tackled the situation, which led to the deaths of multiple passengers. But out of nowhere, an explosion erupts and Akaza makes his entrance, but will Obanai be able to defeat Akaza? Well, he isn't the strongest Hashira, nor is he the fastest, but he would be able to put up a fight. In the end, however, Obanai would be ultimately defeated by Akaza. After all that's happened, let's move on and take a look at what would happen if Sanemi was sent instead of Rengoku. Well, same as in the main series and with the other Hashiras, Sanemi first has to deal with the slasher before he could ever board the Mugen train. Can Sanemi kill the slasher before it hurts anyone? Well, realistically speaking, if Sanemi does live up to his name of being the second fastest Hashira in running, he can easily catch up to the slasher and kill him. After killing the slasher, he boards the Mugen train to further investigate the area, leading him to meet Tanjiro and his friends. We all know Tanjiro hated Obanai, but he hates Sanemi even more. So, Tanjiro and Sanemi get into a fight only to be held off by Inosuke and Zenitsu. This causes them to get distracted and be placed into Enmu's Blood Demon art. Can Sanemi, one of the strongest Hashiras, wake up? Fortunately, he quickly wakes up and even subdues Enmu's pets. This is all due to his extremely strong and unbreakable will. The situation looks dire and Enmu has fused with the train, taking hostage almost 200 passengers. So what would Sanemi's course of action be? Well, just like Obanai, Sanemi is much worse and is more likely to be rash and act on impulse. He would most likely try to handle everything himself, pushing on towards Enmu alone. Tanjiro and the others would of course wake up, but struggle as they try to defend what's left of the passengers. Sanemi would ultimately kill Enmu, ending the battle. The train derails and Sanemi now faces Upper Moon 3, Akaza. Both are battle hungry and are riled up to fight. Sanemi uses his devastating wind breathing technique and 𝗪𝘁𝗰, which causes Akaza to take a few fatal hits, and with a new wind blowing to the Demon Slayer's side, can Sanemi win? Well, 𝗪𝗰 held his own against 𝗪𝗁𝗵 for quite some time, but he still won't be able to win against Akaza alone. The fight would be brutal and fierce, but in the end, Akaza would deal a fatal blow and kill 𝗪𝗰, ending the brawl. Moving on from 𝗪𝗰, let's take a look at how Muichiro will fare against the enemies in the Mugen Train, and same as the other Hashira, he would first have to face off against the slasher, but can Muichiro succeed? Well, unlike the previous two Hashira, Muichiro can easily kill the slasher while it holds a hostage by using his mist breathing, which was even able to solo the upper rank 5 Gyoko. Moving on, Tanjiro and his friends are all aboard the Mugen Train for their mission to accompany Muichiro. Whilst on the train, Tanjiro would have the chance to learn more about the sun breathing technique and the 5 fundamental breathing forms since Muichiro is a descendant of 𝗪𝗁𝗵. Although him having the interest to do so would be another question. The fight with the first 3 demons would be the same as Rengoku's, since those 3 are just fodder for Enmu to affect them with the Sleeping Blood Demon art. However, can Muichiro resist or predict Enmu's attack? Luckily, Muichiro might sense Enmu's presence because of his extrasensory perception and will be able to avoid it completely. If he does it quick enough, he might be able to also save Tanjiro and his friends. With Enmu's body now fused with the Mugen Train, over 200 passengers have become hostages. As Enmu's tentacles try to attack the passengers, Tanjiro recognizes the limits of his ability to protect everyone. Luckily, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Muichiro join Tanjiro in defeating the last lower moon, but even so, can Muichiro save the passengers in the rear 5 carts and still have time to help Tanjiro and Inosuke in the front of the train? Well, Muichiro might be able to dispatch of the demon train's attacks faster than the others and thus be able to save Tanjiro from the train operator's surprise attack. After finally severing Enmu's neck, Tanjiro and Inosuke get thrown off the Mugen Train when it derails. Without sustaining any major injuries to his body, Tanjiro is relieved to hear from Muichiro that all the passengers are safe. Out of nowhere, a blast erupts from behind them. As Muichiro and Tanjiro look behind, they watch as a figure emerges from the dust cloud. Tanjiro reads the kanji in the figure's eyes and becomes terrified as he is staring at upper rank 3, but can Muichiro defeat Akaza? Looking at it, even if Muichiro can awaken his Demon Slayer mark, he would still be no match for Akaza. Just as was stated before, Akaza wasn't taking his fight against Rengoku seriously. That's why other Hashiras would stand no chance against him. Unlike 𝗪𝗰 and 𝗪𝗁𝗵, however, Muichiro might not be strong enough to survive even with Tanjiro's help. With Muichiro being another body count, now we'll be looking at what would happen if the strongest Hashira was sent to the Mugen Train. And here we have 𝗪𝗁𝗵. Just like the others, would encounter the slasher, but would he be able to kill it? Well, being the 3rd fastest runner among the Hashiras, there's no doubt that he would catch up to the demon before it even captures a hostage. 𝗪𝗁𝗵 would easily kill off the slasher, seeing as he was able to fight one-on-one with 𝗪𝗁𝗵 without relying on his mark for a short time. After sensing that another demon is still present in the area, he links up with Tanjiro and his friends as they board the Mugen Train. While on the train, he teaches Tanjiro about the history of the breathing techniques as well as the first ever one, sun breathing. He also gives Tanjiro tips on how to fight better using Hinokami Kagura. As they encounter the 3 fodder demons, 𝗪𝗁𝗵 easily kills them all with ease, but can 𝗪𝗁𝗵 resist Enmu's spell? Well, even with his superior abilities, he'll most likely sense it but leave it at that due to his soft-heartedness. However, he can quickly break out of it and help Tanjiro and his friends wake up. As Enmu becomes the train itself, Tanjiro and his friends along with 𝗪𝗁𝗵 do their best to save all the passengers. However, can 𝗪𝗁𝗵 protect all 5 carts and join Tanjiro and Inosuke in killing Enmu? Luckily, 𝗪𝗁𝗵 is considered to be the strongest Hashira to come after 300 years, so a lower moon like Enmu stands no chance against him. He'll be able to clear all 5 carts and still arrive on time to deliver the killing blow. The train derails after Enmu is defeated and Akaza, a new challenger, enters the fray. Akaza makes his entrance and gets riled up as he notices a formidable fighter in front of him. The two duel it out in what seems to be an earth-breaking fight, but can 𝗪𝗁𝗵 defeat Akaza when the others can't? Well, to put it clearly, 𝗪𝗁𝗵 can't outright beat Akaza, but he can most likely hold off till the sun comes up. Their fight will be long and epic, and 𝗪𝗁𝗵 would come out severely wounded but a victor, giving the Demon Slayers the advantage they need. Lastly, after the strongest Hashira, it's time for the first Hashira to appear in the series to answer what would happen if Giyu was sent to the Mugen Train. And again, we have to take into account the slasher, and so can he finally survive this time? Well, again and again, of course, he's no match for any of the Hashira, including Giyu. Even if Giyu is not the fastest Hashira, he can still surprise and outmatch the slasher, seeing as Giyu one-shotted Rui. Along with Tanjiro and his friends, Giyu boards the Mugen Train in suspicion of another demon about to attack. Giyu teaches Tanjiro about the 5 fundamental breathing forms and a little bit of background about sun breathing, but as this goes on, will Giyu be able to resist Enmu's blood demon art? Sadly, if Rengoku can't, then Giyu can't as well, but he would be able to stop Enmu's puppet from reaching his spiritual core just like Rengoku. As they fight a fused Enmu, they are faced with the dilemma as 200 passengers' lives are at stake. What will Giyu along with Tanjiro and his friends do? Well, for starters, Giyu would most likely do the same thing that Rengoku did, where he'll cover most of the cards while Zenitsu and Nezuko defend the rest and Tanjiro and Inosuke go after Enmu. Events would more or less flow the same with Tanjiro and Inosuke defeating Enmu and the former still being stabbed by the train operator. As the fight comes to a close, Tanjiro and Inosuke sever Enmu's neck and the train goes off the tracks. Luckily, they save all the passengers but the fight's not over yet. One of the most dangerous opponents they have to face arrives in an explosion of dust and rubble, but will Giyu survive this encounter? Unfortunately, even if Giyu could match Akaza with his Demon Slayer mark later on in the series, it was only because of trained Tanjiro that they were able to beat him. This time, ultimately, Giyu would be killed and Tanjiro would suffer the same emotions he felt when Rengoku died. After talking about each individual Hashira, we need to answer the greatest question of all. What would happen if all the Hashiras were sent to the Mugen train? Well, if the Slasher stood no chance against the other Hashira, will he have a chance now? Sad to say, but the Slasher is going nowhere. He won't ever take a hostage and he'll just go running away, but he'll eventually be killed by any of them without the Hashira breaking a sweat. And with the Slasher gone, Tanjiro and his friends along with every other Hashira board the Mugen train, but this time, what will be the reason for their over-the-top mission? Well, they got reports that Muzan will be appearing in the area, so Kaguya sent all the Hashiras to the location. Enmu becomes overconfident and starts his plan. But can the Hashiras resist his blood demon art? Basically, what will happen is because of all their senses on high alert, the Hashira will easily detect an attack is coming, prepare, and have a good chance at not activating Enmu's blood demon art via the ticket. With the Demon Slayers now having the upper hand and Enmu losing the element of surprise, he fails to fuse with the train and is now face to face with the Demon Slayers best, but can Enmu survive? Sad to say, but Enmu will get killed 100% and won't even stand a chance. He'll either be killed by Sanemi, Obanai, or Rengoku since the three of them are the most eccentric. With Enmu dead and the passengers all unharmed, a new rival appears in the form of Akaza. But this time, with all of the Hashiras present, can the Demon Slayers get a win? Well, the Hashiras won't hesitate to gang up on Akaza, especially if they find out he's an upper moon. Tanjiro and his friends will just be on the sideline watching the fight go down. Akaza might surprise the Hashiras with his strength at first, but he'll soon be overwhelmed as even Kokushibo was defeated when he fought against almost half of the Hashiras, much less Akaza against all of them. He'll stand no chance. The Hashiras will emerge victorious and gain an upper hand as an upper moon has been removed from Muzan's arsenal of demons. That's all for what if other Hashiras were sent to the Mugen train instead of Rengoku. If you like this video and are more curious for other what ifs, don't forget to click and subscribe. Also, have you ever wondered would Akaza become upper moon 1 if he started eating women? Well, check out our next video. What if Akaza started eating women?